The automatic doors at St. Mary Hospital slid open, but the woman standing on the other side did not step forward. Her name was Monica Reed, 32, and the nurse at the reception desk had just told her flatly that there were no beds available. Outside, the December wind howled down the Chicago streets, sharp enough to cut through the thickest coat. Inside, fluorescent lights buzzed like a warning, the smell of disinfectant heavy in the air. Monica's 8-year-old son, Caleb, coughed against her shoulder, his forehead hot enough to burn through her winter coat. She tightened her grip and spoke carefully, each word edged with urgency. "I just need a doctor to look at him," she said. The nurse barely looked up, her voice bored and unmoved. "Overcapacity. Try County General." Then the glass window slid shut with a final click that sounded like a verdict. Most parents would have begged or yelled or pleaded for mercy, but Monica didn't. She simply turned, eyes steady, and walked back into the night. Snowflakes swirled under the streetlights as she moved quickly toward the parking lot. What no one in that lobby knew, not the nurse, not the security guard leaning against the wall, not the families warming themselves in the waiting area, was that Monica Reed was no ordinary mother. By day, she worked as a lab technician, meticulous and quiet. By night, she had spent 3 relentless years building something in her cramped apartment kitchen, a small, portable breathing device for asthma patients who couldn't reach care fast enough. It was a project born of grief, started after losing her own brother to an asthma attack when paramedics arrived too late. Every evening after Caleb was asleep, she had soldered wires, tested pressure valves, and stitched handmade masks, chasing the memory of a life she couldn't save. Now, with Caleb wheezing in her arms, the purpose of all those sleepless nights became painfully clear. Monica hurried him into her aging sedan, the heater groaning against the bitter cold. His breathing was ragged, each inhale a struggle that echoed in the small cabin of the car. Her mind raced, not with panic, but with the quiet precision of someone who had been preparing for a moment like this long before she realized why. She popped the trunk and reached for the black duffel bag she always carried. Inside lay a prototype no one else had ever seen, a palm-sized compressor, a mask she'd stitched by hand, and a cartridge of life-saving medication. She hadn't even filed the patent yet. "Hold still, baby," she whispered as she fit the mask over Caleb's small face. The hiss of compressed air filled the car, a soft, mechanical sound that felt louder than any siren. Caleb's chest rose, faltered, then began to find a rhythm again. Monica watched the color return to his cheeks, every second stretching like an hour. 20 minutes later, headlights flashed in her rearview mirror. An ambulance pulled up behind them, lights strobing against the falling snow. A passing driver had called after noticing Monica's car pulled over on the shoulder. The EMTs approached, expecting tragedy, but instead they found a calm mother, a breathing child, and a device they'd never encountered before. "What is that?" one medic asked, eyes wide. "A prototype," Monica said quietly. "Something I've been working on." They exchanged a glance, the kind of look that travels faster than words, and loaded Caleb into the ambulance for a quick ride to County General. One medic slipped the strange little machine into an evidence bag, but not before whispering, "You might have just saved his life." By the next morning, word of the incident had already spread through the hospital halls like a spark on dry grass. A hospital administrator, a city health official, even a local reporter, all wanted to know about the mysterious device and the mother who built it. When Monica finally stepped into Caleb's room, sunlight streaming through half-drawn blinds, she found a crowd waiting, doctors with clipboards, journalists clutching cameras, administrators with polite but hungry eyes. The same hospital system that had turned her away now wanted a demonstration. Monica didn't gloat. She didn't even look at the nurse who had closed the window the night before. Instead, she placed the prototype on the bedside table and spoke in a voice steady and clear. "This isn't about me," she said. "It's about making sure no one else gets turned away to die in the cold." Weeks later, a formal investigation revealed what Monica had suspected all along. St. Mary's had lied about capacity. Beds had been available, just not for someone without the right insurance. The finding ignited outrage across the city. Editorials demanded accountability. Community groups rallied outside the hospital doors. But by then, the story had already outgrown the scandal. University researchers requested schematics of Monica's device. A nonprofit offered funding to fast-track production. Parents across the city began calling and emailing, asking when they could buy the invention that had kept one child alive on a freezing night. Monica, who had once tinkered in silence after Caleb's bedtime, now found herself fielding questions from engineers, regulators, and investors. Months passed in a blur of paperwork, testing, and long days that stretched into longer nights. The patent was approved after rigorous review. The first production run sold out in hours, purchased by clinics, schools, and community centers desperate for a portable emergency option. Medical journals hailed the design as both elegant and revolutionary. One bright spring afternoon, the same hospital that had shut its doors on her unveiled a new emergency wing, its walls lined with Monica's portable breathing units, each stamped with her name. Cameras flashed as city officials cut the ribbon. A reporter approached her, microphone in hand. "Do you ever think about that night?" he asked. Monica smiled, the faintest trace of steel in her eyes. "I think about all the nights that don't make the news," she said. "Families who never got a second chance." Here's the truth. Progress doesn't always start in boardrooms or government offices. Sometimes it begins in a mother's kitchen with a pair of steady hands and a reason to never give up. Monica Reed didn't just save her son. She forced an entire system to look at itself and change. As evening settled over the city, Monica returned home to the modest apartment where it had all begun. The prototype, once a secret project on her kitchen table, now sat in hospitals across the state. Caleb slept soundly in his room, breathing easy, unaware of the ripple his mother had set in motion. If this story makes you pause, share it, because the next life saved might depend on a door that never closes again.